Welcome to episode 10 of Teach Me Tiger.
You know, if you see a woman give birth and are not totally awed, and, you know, if you don't feel a sense of, like, the power and the strength, and then continue to worship this person, then you haven't been paying attention. You missed out.
Yeah.
So, better luck next time. I don't know. Like, it's just...
You fucking idiot.
Bigger issues.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Teach me, tiger, how to kiss you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Help me, tiger, I don't know what to do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Take my lips, they belong to you. But teach me first, teach me what to do.
Hi, you guys. Welcome to Teach Me Tiger podcast,
Where you send us questions and we call in our smartest pals to help us answer them.
Thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome.
We're your favorite neighbors.
Melody Starkweather.
And Sarah Wright.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Mel.
This week, we have a super exciting episode. We have 4 guests for a total of 6 people in the studio.
6 people in our studio apartment.
We ain't even got that many mics, girl.
Yeah, 4 mics, 6 guests. Two gals, 4 guys. It's our lucky day.
Is
Beep,
it
beep,
ever?
Beep, beep, beep. Look out, world. It's the Dadisode, right?
Dadisode.
Dadisode.
Now would be a really good time to play some Kim Mitchell, actually. Don't you think?
Patio lanterns. Well, BBQing. Dads love barbecues and Kim Mitchell.
That's what I heard.
All dads.
Yeah, all
Yep.
dads.
Yeah. I want to point out this is a super heteronormative episode.
Yes.
Calling it a dadisode. We're going to be talking a lot about like the difference between moms and dads, kind of tongue in cheek. But I just want to like put it out there that
Yeah.
there's all kinds of families, and we're super aware of that, and we're not trying to exclude anyone. This is just some of the dads we know.
Also, to that point, if you're a dad who is not of the heteronormative variety, we would love to have you on for the next Dadisode. So
Yeah, like
hit us
let's.
up.
Yeah,
We would love to represent all the dads.
all the dads, all the dads. I have 2 dads, but I also have a mom. So you know,
Yeah.
Oops.
Cool. 2 dads. I wish I could say that.
yeah, it's pretty great. I'm super lucky. Hashtag blessed. Double dad.
Double dad. Ooh.
Yeah.
I think that's a channel on Pornhub.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How was your week, Mel?
My week was great, I think. It's really hot, really sweaty. It's hard to think.
When you hear this will be a memory this day, but if you'll look way, way, way back to a few weeks ago when it was Canada Day weekend and it was plus 40 fucking 5 degrees or whatever. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, it's very hot. It's very sweaty.
We're in the past.
We're very glisteny
Yeah, we're
in the
glowing.
past. Yeah.
Fuck sweaty. We're glowing.
I'm glowing.
Profusely from our underarms and mustache areas.
That's accurate.
Yes. I love the mustache sweat. It's my favorite.
It's so not my favorite. That's my most unfavorite kind of sweat is the mustache sweat.
Or under boob sweat. A
That's
good
pretty
one.
gross too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And between boob sweat even.
Ooh, yeah.
And then if you wear a low cut shirt and you're working outside and you're all sweaty between your boobs, you get like dirt in there. So you
Yeah.
get like sort of like brown trails, you know?
Yeah.
In
Well,
your
and
cleavage.
I really get the brown, like the mustache, because you get the sweaty mustache. You're
Right.
working outside. You
You're
get the
wiping
dirty
it off.
hands. Yeah. And you're like,
Absolutely.
oh, I got a dirt stash. It's kind of
We
like
all love a
dress
good
up.
dirt stash.
Everyone loves dirt stash.
Dirty stash.
Dirt stash. Dirty
Mustache
Sanchez.
rides. Yeah. So since this is the Dadisode, as you mentioned, it's a very heteronormative episode this week. I thought, well, the last episode when we chatted with Liz Cooper, photographer extraordinaire, we were talking about how there's nothing that heterosexual men love more than dick pics, but period blood.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd like to introduce the episode with an ode to my vagine
Yay.
for all of the men out there If you're a lady and you're not interested in lady bits, you just skip ahead about 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
So I got a Diva cup.
Yeah, girl.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Tell us.
Well, I got the kind that vibrates. Just kidding. I wish. It's great. It does its job.
Yeah.
Okay, so
just to catch your period blood.
To catch your period blood. But it comes out in
So
a
you can save
little silicone measuring cup. It literally has the measurements, so you can see how much you've lost.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you just dump it in the toilet, give it a rinse, pop it back in there. There's literally no mess at all. And I don't have to have all of that bleachy plastic garbage crap going into the landfill.
See you later, yeast infection.
Chris told me I'm not allowed to flush my tampons anymore also.
Have you been flushing your tampons?
My entire life.
Oh my
Not the applicator.
God. You've been flushing tampons?
Hold it. What?
No.
It's cotton.
You're not allowed to flush tampon. You
Well,
know what a tampon does inside your body? It gets bigger.
That's true.
Imagine it's a small pipe. Is your vagina is like a pipe.
It's a bigger pipe than probably the...
I've come to fix the pipe.
It's a huge pipe. Let's get real.
Let's get real. Prank.
Oh, and the other thing about that region of my body was that I went to the beach for the first time recently. Mm-hmm. Put on my bathing suit, got in the water, feeling great, cooling off, and I look down and there's like a mess of pubic hair coming out both sides of my bathing suit. So I was feeling really like cool and free about my body hair, you know, empowered by our discussion with Kim Angel McCormick and Justine Cruz Campo. I was like, you know what, man? Fuck it. My husband doesn't care. I don't care. But then I went to the beach and I don't like it.
Kids don't need to see that. Kids don't need to see your pubic hair.
No. Anyway, so those are my tales of my vagina. Tell me about yours, Sarah. How's your vagina?
My vagina, she's good. She's doing well. She's really good. I think she's on her way home from Australia.
Ooh.
Now, if you're not a regular listener, then fuck you. No. My vagina's been on a trip to Australia for, how old's my baby? 8 months. I think she might be coming home soon.
Cool.
Coming for a little visit. Just a little busy.
Yeah. She's been homesick.
She's been a little homesick. Ew. I'm done personifying my vagina today.
What's her name?
Ooh. Well, for a while she was Vaginosaurus Rex.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And then I felt like peaceful again, so I didn't name her. But I'm back to the self-empowering, don't fuck with me, Vaginosaurus Rex.
Nice.
Because I've been really standing up for myself lately.
Nice. And she's got teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's extinct. Oh.
But if you find a good piece of amber with a mosquito in there,
turn it into a dildo.
You could bring her back to life.
Right.
So, Sarah.
Yo.
I wanted to talk about our little summer break, our Teach Me Tiger.
Oh, yeah. Break-ish.
Because
summer be crazy.
We're going to take a little break from coordinating with fancy experts for the next few episodes. We will still be bringing you episodes, but it's just going to be Sarah and me and maybe our neighbors if they're free.
Yeah, just chatting.
And we'll teach you about some of the things we know.
Yeah, like chickens, slaughtering chickens.
We're going to do the Dating Nightmares episode.
Eating chickens.
We're hoping to do a Ghost Stories episode.
Scary chickens.
Headless chickens. So send us some ghost stories. That would be really super fucking awesome. You should call our number, 1-833-TEACH-US, 832-2487. Tell us about your scary chickens. Tell us your ghost stories.
We want ghost stories. We want terrible dating stories. They're the same thing. Maybe you dated a ghost and it was awful, or maybe it was great. Tell us about it.
If you dated a ghost and it was awful, please call in. We'll give you a special prize.
We will give
you can come on the show.
Yeah.
Be a celebrity for a day in my basement. So we have a bunch of guys coming in. Hot dads.
Summer in the city. Right? Getting in the basement. Man, we look so pretty. Boo, boo, boo.
So, should we get started?
Let's do this.
Welcome, gentlemen. Gentlemans.
Gentlemen's.
So today we're doing the Dadisode.
We sure are.
We have with us a panel of dads, and not just any dads.
Feminist dads. Amazing, beautiful feminist dads who are totally being our allies and rocking our socks off. And washing our socks while they do laundry, like any good feminist dad should.
That's right.
Wash my socks off.
Should we do a little round robin? Do you guys want to introduce yourselves so people know your voice?
This is Greg Aarons.
How many kids do you have, Greg?
4 at least.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kaajuk Kablalik. I have 5 boys.
Yeah.
Yowza.
I'm Chris Chambers, and we have a boy and a girl.
I'm Brent Maguire, and I have a boy.
Anthony tells the funniest jokes ever.
He does.
Oh my
He's pretty
God.
awesome.
He's so funny.
Oh, actually, I almost forgot. I wanted to play a little extra intro for Brent.
Uh-oh.
This is my dad, Brent Maguire, and he's super cool.
Hi, this is my son, Anthony, and he's super cool.
No, you're cool.
No, you're super cool.
No, you're cool.
No, you're cool.
No, you're
No, you're cool. No, you're cool.
No,
Infinity.
no.
So this is Brent. I hear he's pretty cool.
Oh my God. My heart just melted. That's special. No, you're cool. No, you hang out.
We totally didn't rehearse that at all.
Yeah, that sounds
Are you
very
lying?
It was
rehearsed.
totally, yes, I'm totally lying.
Nice.
That way. I tried to give an introduction on the phone, and then Anthony found out what I was doing, and he needed to be involved.
Right.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, you're both dramatic
Yeah.
fellas.
Theater fellows. I've seen Anthony on those kindergarten plays. I was there. I seen
He's
it.
a force to be reckoned with.
He
for
is.
sure.
Fantastic.
So normally we would do icebreakers.
Icebreakers.
However, there's too many dads, too many hands to reach into my box today. But I'm going to play the song anyway because it's so good.
Yeah, we really like it. It's one of our dads. Greg.
Hit it.
Roll up your sleeves, pull up your socks, reach
Today
on
we're
into
gonna reach into
Melody's
Melody's
box. Icebreakers.
I'm going to be honest, I feel a little let down.
That you're not reaching
We
into
don't
Melody's
get to
box?
reach into Melody's box. I thought that was like the point of coming onto the show.
I know.
I know.
Yeah, that's a perk. It's a real perk.
Yeah.
It's not fair to just take
Do
that
we
away
get to
from me.
see Melody's box at least?
Yeah, let's all look at your box, Mel.
Let's just see.
It's behind you. It's underneath
Oh,
you.
wow, it's fancy.
Nice box, eh? It's a
Yeah.
fancy box.
It's a big box, right?
Ever fancy box.
But we will ease into our more serious questions with some icebreakery dad questions.
Just like we'd ease into your box.
yeah.
Right. Perfect. Just ease in. All right.
Gentlemen, what's your favorite thing to do with your kids? Go. We'll start
Go, Greg.
again with Greg.
Wrestling, I guess. Wrestling is fun, yeah.
Cash.
Whatever they want to do with me. Seriously, easy.
Easy peasy.
What a guy. Chris?
I like a structured activity of some sort, like a puzzle or going to a specific destination, because I have trouble with what you call like unstructured play.
Like free play?
It's disinteresting to me.
Yeah. Yes.
At least honest.
Yeah.
I would have to say singing and dancing would probably be the funnest thing to do with Anthony.
Oh my God. It's fun. I want to hang out with all you guys. I'm going to be your kid. Oh, it's weird because.
I thought we do hang out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing right now.
We're right here.
Right.
You can hang out with us right now.
And we do sing and dance together sometimes.
We do.
That's
we
true.
do indeed.
One word, guys. Karaoke.
Oh.
Karaoke! Why are we just.
Oh.
Fuck it. This is a karaoke
We have the
episode.
mics. We
Okay.
have the headphones. Let's
Okay.
just go.
What song do we all know?
I know what song we all know. It's Let It Go. Let It Go. Reach on into Melody's box. Icebreakers.
Bing, smash.
Yes.
Wow.
We're so good.
That was amazing.
You want to do the next one, Sarah?
Yeah. I really love this question. This is from our gal pal, Danielle. And she says, do you remember how you felt when you first found out you were going to be a father? I'm going to start with you, Brent. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us a bit about that.
We were trying for baby. Actually, when we found out that Sarah was pregnant, we were actually building a fireplace with rock, and we were moving stuff, and Sarah was trying to move a whole bunch of rock, and she was like, God damn it, why can't I move all this rock? I feel so tired and, like, horrible. And then we found out that she was pregnant, and I was actually really... I was really excited. We were trying for a while, but then I was very focused on not screwing it up.
Oh, yeah. Like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. Yeah, you, there's a lot of thoughts there. Like, you're not actually, it's not just one. It's not just like one. Like, you're like thinking about it a lot, about like what's going to change and how that's going to work and what you want to do and how you want to be and
how you going to raise this little human.
Yeah. That's a pretty deep question. Oh, and my Sarah is a different Sarah than the regular Sarah. I feel like we should clarify
different
that as
Sarah.
well. Also awesome, but she wears less jumpsuits than the Sarah.
Right, right.
We're going to change that if there's anything we do. This
That's
podcast.
our one difference.
Jumpsuit nation.
The only difference.
The only difference. Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I felt pretty ambivalent as I do towards everything.
You felt ambivalent?
No.
This is my husband. He's an asshole, everybody.
I would say happy but surprised. We had expected it would take a number of months to become pregnant. So we were hoping that we would get pregnant sort of after the honeymoon, but we got pregnant like immediately within like
first
a
try,
week
literally?
or so of deciding to try and get pregnant. So we figured that it might take 6 months or 8 months or whatever. And but it was surprising, but definitely just like, yeah, I'm the man.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And, excited and worried and all the other emotions that come along with being an expectant father. Yeah.
I love, I'm a man. Cash, how about you?
Well, my oldest, he's 21, but he comes from my first relationship. So when I first found out, it was pretty surprising.
Yeah. How old were you?
I was 19.
Whew.
Yeah. Early starter, I guess. Like my other fellow fathers here, I had a lot of different emotions and a lot of feelings happening all at once. Processing all those feelings. It's kind of a job in itself. So, figuring out how to balance all of that along with the reality that, wow, I'm going to have my first child. It's just like, and for me, it was definite realization that it wasn't about me anymore.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a pretty big turning point for me.
Was your first kid planned?
No. No. A couple of my children were planned, but, a couple weren't. So
I hear ya.
it's, I don't know, mixed bag for me, I guess.
Greg, husband of mine.
Yeah, I was excited. I was surprised, not that I was going to have a baby, but I was surprised at how I felt about it, how okay it was.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. And all of a sudden, like, I'd always wanted kids, and I knew that. So I was happy and excited, and it kind of made me realize how, where my relationship with Sarah was. It was like,
It was pretty
this
fresh.
is totally okay, which means, this is the person that I'm meant to be with, because I'm not freaking out. And all of the little, all of the concerns and the, what are we going to do? All of that stuff is on a different plane of thinking, when you're processing something that's really profound. It's that stuff kind of fades away. And yeah, so I was thrilled and excited, and it seemed like, now there was this path in front of me that was becoming solid. And I mean, although it's for a lot of people, it's like, oh no, that's the end of my life. For me, it was like, oh, here's a world of possibility now that is open up. to us, to me and Sarah and stuff. It was cool.
We had started dating only about 4 months prior to that.
We had started sleeping together maybe
5
7 months prior to that.
No, about 5 months.
Was that
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Also very fertile over here.
Fertile, myrtle.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, I was pretty surprised and upset. And I was like, Greg, I have something to tell you. I'm fucking pregnant. Like, crying and freaking out. And he was like, well, it's a bit of a surprise, but if there's anyone that I would want to have this surprise with, it's you. And, like, was all happy and sweet. I thought he was going to, like, break down into tears and be like, what are we going to do? And I was like, I don't know.
I feel like that's the other thing too, that like when you find out you're going to be a dad, you also find out that your partner's pregnant, and you're going to have a long support period where you're just supporting someone who's pregnant and not having a kid. And that actually took a lot of thought process and figuring out as well of like, okay, all of a sudden this person's going through a whole bunch of different hormonal changes and like crazy stuff, and like how you're going to support this, and you're used to them being one way and they turn.
They turned to the dark side.
Like they change. And also I remember thinking about that a lot as well, about like, okay, how am I going to support and get through that before the baby even comes, because there's a lot there. There's a lot of emotion going on, a lot of thought. Yeah.
And there's a part of you, like, deep down, maybe in your reptile brain, that's just kind of like, fuck yeah, did it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
My job on this planet is done.
Nailed it. Literally.
Yeah.
I think one of the things it teaches you too, you know, on a more serious note, it definitely taught me how to be selfless with my partner.
I remember being pregnant and loving like the chivalry that I got from men. They see a belly and take care of you.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's true.
Including this guy, my husband.
Thanks.
We got married and I was like, 7 months pregnant, and then went to Thailand for our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so we thought it would take me so long to get pregnant because I did a little research, and the average, I think, at 30 is like 12 or 13 months for couples to get pregnant. So we thought we had tons of time. I thought I might be a little bit pregnant at my wedding, like Sarah was, right?
Well, we did the similar thing. We kind of just like, well, we won't really start to try, but we will stop not trying.
Right.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So I was like very pregnant at my wedding.
You were so beautiful.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, in Thailand, like people couldn't believe it that I was. Well, first of all, I'm like a 6 foot tall white lady
Yeah.
who was super pregnant.
You stand out.
And they're like, they let you on the plane like this?
Yeah, plus we were climbing these giant temples that would have 300 steps up to the top of a hill where there's like a Buddhist temple at the top. And yeah.
Mel, you're such a
And it
champ.
was 105 degrees and 90% humidity.
But yeah, I remember crossing the street, and I've actually not known people personally, but known of people who have been killed in Thailand crossing the street because the drivers are crazy.
Yeah.
And if you are a Westerner and you're used to drivers who pay attention to pedestrians, it can be very dangerous. But I remember starting to cross and Chris being like, "Ugh!" and grabbing me back. And then I realized he really cared. That was his whole family right there.
Life.
Yeah. He did.
Now that he implanted his seed, he truly cared.
Yeah. But yeah, the chivalry as a pregnant woman, the way people take care of you can be really touching and lovely. So lovely.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah, like you should get support because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the propagation of the species. It's ingrained.
That sounds like a big deal
And take
when you
care.
put it that
Big
way.
job.
Yeah, it should be everybody's job.
Everybody's job. All right. Those are beautiful answers, everyone. Mel, would you like
But then
to
once you have the baby, it's like, can you get that baby out of here?
Yeah.
That's me talking to you, right? Yeah.
Why did we have so many dictators?
Right? Oh no. We're propagating the earth with our tiny dictators.
Yeah.
Tiny dictators.
I knew I should have named my last one Mao.
So here's another one from Danielle. This is a burning question, you guys.
Get a life, Danielle.
We can't answer all of your questions. All 2 of them.
Okay, dads. Is it true that you love the barbecue?
Real question.
Chris?
I guess I don't love it. I don't know. It's good. Like, do you mean the food on it?
Do you love to barbecue? How often do you barbecue?
I mean, if I have a beer and like my vape pen, I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just flipping meat and vaping and drinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, dads at the barbecue is kind of a weird stereotype, actually. That
It is.
It is funny, like how that actually happened. Is it kind of from like the guy was supposed to be like the cutting up the turkey, like carving the turkey, and
Oh,
then
there's that one,
went
too.
over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I
Dads
feel
and
like
meat.
That's a nightmare. Carving the turkey?
Yeah.
Let anyone else do that but me. No, thank you.
I had to YouTube that. Like, I had to look it up. And
Modern
figure
day
out
dads.
Yeah, like
If there's ever any older dad around, I'm like, Justin, if Mel's dad is here, I'm like, Justin, you
do the honors?
My father,
please, for the love of God, because I don't want to mangle this animal.
every time, my father's like, oh, okay, I guess so. He's not into it at all.
Nobody wants to do
But
it.
he does it a lot better than I do. I just make a hacked up mess of basically what pulled pork looks like, but with turkey.
It's pulled turkey this year.
Well, I will answer honestly about the barbecue thing, though. The best thing about the barbecue typically is that your kids can go up, play outside.
Yeah.
You can be watching them. You can be hanging out with people. Like Sarah and I do that all the time. But we both barbecue probably equally.
That's
but
good to
like
hear.
that is the cool thing about barbecuing. Sometimes you're stuck in the kitchen and you have to
Yeah, it's the fucking
like
worst.
work and you can't play and stuff. Barbecuing's awesome because you can usually play with your kids and like talk to people, and everybody likes to be outside and it's fun, and you're cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think barbecue is great for everyone. It's not that dads love it specifically.
Dads get to do it, though.
It's part of the old school masculinity. It's very meat centric, you know?
Yeah,
You
that's such a
hunt the
weird
meat
thing, eh?
and
Yeah.
you
It's
kill the
very
meat,
strange.
then you cut the meat, and then you burn it on a fire. And that makes you, and if you can't cook a steak, you're some kind
A
of
lesser
fucking
man.
fairy, you know? Like it's just,
I've never heard truer words coming out of your mouth.
yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And now it's just been co-opted by
Industry.
commercial industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And greeting cards and shit.
Yeah. Do you love to barbecue, Kaajuk?
I do.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, I do probably, at least 2/3 of the cooking, sometimes 3/4, but I'm fine with that because I like cooking anyways. Like, I like making people feel happy that way. I mean, if I can make them feel good with my food, then winning. Hello, winning. Like, and for me, barbecuing, that's just a part of that. You know, I don't see it as masculine or only a male oriented sort of role. When my wife wants to cook, she's gonna cook, and I'm grateful then, like it doesn't bother me either way. But I do like barbecuing. It's simple, it's fast. Come on. And
When you're outside.
yeah. That, and like my man Chris said over there with a beer, come on, winning still. Yeah. Right?
It's nice to smoke and cook at the same time.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
God,
All
I'm
the
smoking.
Yeah. Gotta have some sort of combustion there for sure.
I want
Even if it's from your butt, am I right?
I want to
Dads
just,
fart a lot. That's the thing, too.
Combustion.
Yeah, dads love combustion. As a lady and a mom, I just wanted to have a lady's perspective about barbecuing here. Number one. Number 1A.
1A.
I wasn't taught how to barbecue. My mom never barbecued. The dads barbecued. And because I'm a gal, I didn't show any interest because I was like, oh, that's for dads. I don't want to stand and do that. And nobody offered to teach me. So I'm not comfortable at the barbecue. I don't know how.
You were
think that's
knitting
pretty common.
napkins
I was
for the barbecue.
Knitting sanitary napkins.
Can I give you my spin on that? My dad left at around age 12 or so. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
leave our lives, but no, he didn't ever. There was no teaching me how to use the barbecue. So
Yeah.
I think by the time I was like 13, my mom was just like, "I'm going to fire up the barbecue, and you're going to give some stuff a try."
Perfect.
Basically, just
That's
threw
great.
me on it. So.
Maybe-
But for
but
some
if you
reason,
were-
I
did
was
your
the one
sister-
who. No.
yeah.
Even my mom was just like, "I'll shove the boy
Here.
toward the barbecue,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll see what
He'll
he can
know
come
what
up
to
with."
do because he is the penis. There's number 1B, which is actually number 2, C. is that like as a woman with kids and a little baby, I don't like if I'm going to barbecue, I have to be standing in front of a hot thing with flames. And what if my baby needs me? Like I can't do it. You know, I have to be accessible to the little people usually for the amount of time it takes to like barbecue the meal. So it's kind of like male centric in that regard. And I feel like the guys get to go out, barbecue the meat. This is not like our situation, Greg, but you know, like the woman stays in the house, makes the sides and makes the salad and sets the table and does all this stuff and keeps the kids whatever and all the things. And the guy goes out with his beer and his smoke and like cooks some sausages. And then everyone's like, oh, Dad, you made dinner. It's the best. Dad's the best. You did this perfectly. I think it's all this dinner cred.
Everything you said, I can do that all by myself.
Renaissance man.
Well, Renaissance man.
You know, with these stereotypical gender roles, I don't agree with them. They're just in the way and just a time waster. Like my life as a father, as whatever, a brother, as an employee or as a business person, whatever, that takes up enough time. You know, I don't need to be thinking about, oh, I gotta be this, and this, you know, because society says so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been lucky too with my partner, Jenna. We've had a pretty solid relationship. We've been together almost, over 20 years now. So, you know, that's a good while to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's been I've learned a lot from my wife. She's been a phenomenal teacher. Like, you know, for me not to give her props on that, sin, right? So yeah, cheers to my wife. You know,
You're here.
Yeah.
To wives.
So wives.
Yeah,
They're awesome.
To mothers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
for
They don't
sure,
have to be-
mothers all the way.
Okay, so I have a clip. Greg.
I had the kids tell me what's the difference between mom and dad. And I thought it had to be funny. I caught them a little off guard. They had no time to really think about it. So
Yeah. But then you get their knee-jerk,
you get their knee-jerk
honest
like,
reaction, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
So what's the difference between mom and dad? My mom cleans the toilet. My dad doesn't. My mom cleans more than my dad, but my dad builds more than my mom. You do the dishes all the time and dad doesn't. Mom is smart, funny, and strong in a different way. Dad is strong on the outside, goofy, and kind of a brat. He's smart, but yeah. Me and my mom take care of chickens and ducks. Me and my dad build stuff. And that's the difference between my dad and my mom. So they're pretty different, but they both love us. Well, mostly me. So that's the difference between mom and dad. Bye.
So, Greg, first of all, I think your kids threw you under the fucking bus.
They
dude.
really did.
They did.
But yeah, let me say
Like,
a
I
couple
wonder
things.
if you'd asked them the question, how they would have answered.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
have been like, well, you're much better looking than mom, dad.
That's true.
You're so
Yeah,
strong.
I feel like they were playing to the audience a little
I
bit.
think
They
so.
were, absolutely. I was like, well, come
Smart
on,
kids.
guys. Come on. Greg does tons of dishes. Number one. He does not clean the toilet. That's true. That's an ongoing thing and we're all working on as a family. And you take care of the ducks and stuff. Like, I don't know. Greg does lots and lots of stuff. He's great. He's a really great guy.
I quit. Done.
Too late. I already quit. But, you know, I really liked when Leon
So
said
your kids
that
are
we
cool.
love
Can we have your
each other.
kids then? Because they're really pretty
Yes.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
We
Dibs,
quit.
dibs.
We'll spread
Maybe
them
you
out.
can succeed where I failed, Brent. You do a
No,
good
no,
job.
Yeah. Just make sure you're the one asking the questions. That's the.
You know what? They had asked me for gum, and I was like, after we record this. So maybe
Oh,
yeah.
snap.
I was like, say nice things about mommy and mean shit about daddy. So here's your gum.
It's all right, Greg. My kids will throw me under the bus repeatedly.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
That's what dads are for.
Yeah.
In good times, in bad times.
It's okay. He's got 9 lives like a cat, right?
Yeah.
They also said some pretty awesome things about both of you guys, which is pretty cool.
They did.
And part of being a dad is, being the focus of humiliation and that kind of.
Yeah.
Because we can take it.
Yeah.
We're tough.
Moms can't. We can't. We're just
strong on
so
the
bare
outside.
already that by the end of the day, if like someone looks at us sideways, we're either going to scream at them or just lie on the ground crying.
Yeah.
Dads get to come home from work and the kids are like, Dad, you're stupid. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to kick you. And dads are like, well, all right.
We're tough like cowboys.
Yeah.
Teach me, tiger.
Yeah, can we all do that? Everyone. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah.
Woo. Okay.
Next
Guys,
question.
what was it like for you watching your partner go through childbirth? What was it like to see your kid be born? Were you all there at the birth?
Yes.
Yep.
2 different questions.
Is it?
Going through childbirth and then seeing your child born. It's like, fear, anxiety, and helplessness.
Yeah.
When you see someone in pain, you're like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Really, there are measures. Squeeze the hips, or massage, but really, like, you're like, fuck, I can't stop this. And then seeing the child born is like the complete opposite, just overwhelming, like the most profound joy, almost like an ecstasy, like
Yeah.
where you're just overwhelmed, crying. There's nothing in the world that feels like that will ever
Yeah.
feel like that. So,
I'm getting all goosebumpy because I'm remembering being at Eli's birth.
yeah, that's right.
It's just so
We were there.
magical.
It's fucking amazing.
Chris, what was it like for you?
Well, Melody had a really specific set of things that she wanted at each birth, and so she had her like female partner type, different in both births. But I felt like I didn't want to be anxious or dampen the mood in any way, so I pretty well kept a low profile throughout both births, and I tried to be helpful, but I think I stayed out of the way for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was there, but I wasn't trying to cheer you up or anything. I feel like that's irritating to a woman who's in birth. You just I'm
For me.
letting you go through the process. Yeah, I felt like if I was going to come and be like, you're doing great, honey, I feel like you would have been like,
I'm aware.
No touching.
I'm doing what I'm doing. Away. Yeah.
Were
So-
you nervous?
I mean, I was
nervous that it was.
I mean,
gonna
I was
go wrong,
nervous
or were you
for
confident?
Melody's health, just because, it's a difficult thing, and we weren't at the hospital. My mother, I would say, was much more nervous. I was like, Melody's pretty tough. It should probably be fine, and we're 5 minutes from an actual hospital, so I wasn't terribly worried. I mean, the first birth was really long. The second birth was there was no time to be worried about anything because Robin was born in
A flash.
couple of hours, and really only an hour of hard labor.
If I honestly don't think I had
Half
hard
an
labor.
hour?
With
I don't
him.
know. It was just done.
You
It
had a
was
couple
like
minutes.
I had labor, and then all of a sudden, we had to take my pants off, or I was going to have the baby in my pants.
When
Yeah.
Robin was being born, I was literally laughing hysterically because it was too much too soon. I was expecting this slow buildup of 24 to 30 hours of birth, and it was just whoop, it's done.
And the midwife wasn't there
No.
until the very end.
No,
Chris called
nobody.
the midwife.
It was just you and me and Mel. Yeah.
Chris, I remember your face when Robin was born. When you first held him, you just had this look of complete and utter bliss.
Oh.
You just looked stoned
That's nice.
out of your mind and kind of glassy eyed and super calm. You just looked kind of stoned. It was amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest mistake that Melody would say I made was going to sleep, because I just straight up eventually went to bed
With the first one, yeah.
because it was 30 hours in, and I was like, well, I'm gonna catch some Z's.
I don't know that you understood though that I wasn't going to sleep at all that night.
Yeah, I don't know. I just was exhausted and went to bed. And I knew that you had Tamar and that she would not go to bed. So
My eyes are rolling so hard right now.
Tomorrow won't go to bed.
Yeah, I have to say that labor was really difficult because we had a bunch of like really seriously traumatic births, and each one very different,
Right.
but each one very trying, and you kind of have to be. Like for me, I had to be the rock, you know, as worried as you are and as scared as you are, you cannot show it in your eyes. Your partner is looking to you like, hey, is everything okay? I feel like I'm dying. Yeah. And you just kind of have to be solid and not let your own fears or your own worries show through, because then
I would have
then
fucking
it gets
tripped
scary.
out if he looked scared. Like, that would have been it. I needed, for the first 3, like, Greg couldn't be away from my face for like a second. I was like, you fucking keep looking into my eyes. Holy shit.
See, for me in
More
labor,
relaxed.
I want to put my head in the sand. Like, I actually don't want help from anyone. I just want to like focus on not like hurting so bad, kind of,
Right.
and just get through it. So Chris was on the nose with that one, just like hanging back, bringing drinks over and stuff.
yeah, well, there was certain points where it was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the hardest thing, like through all of it, was that the roles are much more clearly defined for the woman in the birthing process, whereas like whereas for the guys, it's at one moment one role is going to be what she needs, and another moment another role is going to be what she needs, and you know that really changes depending on a lot of different factors. I mean, even early labor and all of that stuff, like you have to constantly be on your toes, and you're going to screw up sometimes because you're going to be like, oh, well, last time you were acting like this is what you liked. And but then this time is different. And you just constantly have to be aware that, you know,
It's intuition. Like, you have to be really intuitive and really, like, you cannot plan. You make your birth plan and everything, but you just can't know what's going to go down or what she's going to need at any time.
Yeah.
Well, and good communication and like a thick skin, like a good communication being like,
Thick skin.
does this still feel good?
Yeah.
You know, like knowing that it's going to change and it's not against you. If she's like, stop touching my back, it's because the baby's moved and it's going to hurt now.
Yeah.
So just for all the dads out there listening or potential future dads, it's all just about communication. Like, do you want me to do this? Does this feel good? Is this pressure okay? And if she just tell her straight up, like, if you don't like this, if this stops feeling good, tell me.
That's a life hack too. Just constant dialogue is usually a good thing in a relationship, no matter what you're doing.
I feel like this is good advice for like dating, you know, like maybe all men should sit in on a birth, be a birth partner before they even get out into the dating field.
A doodla.
It's a good, yeah.
I was just going to say,
Greg's nickname.
like, labor
Little
is not the time to take things personally.
Right.
Or have hurt feel, you know.
No.
Ever.
It's like, oh, babe, I'm just trying to help. And she's like, fuck off, you know.
Yeah.
You can't, it's hard. You have to be like, oh, now I have hurt feelings. But, yeah.
Suck it up, because I'm about to push a baby out.
You're
my
not
vagina.
pushing the baby out your vagina, so suck it up, basically.
Yeah.
Cash.
But don't suck the baby back up the vagina. That's not good.
That's no good.
Keep pushing it
happened.
out.
That happened.
I've had that happen. Yeah.
That's real.
Cash.
For Jenna and I, it was pretty high stress times. My son Liam, my second oldest, he was born with something called gastroschisis. It's where your belly button doesn't quite close over, so part of your intestines are still on the outside. Mm-hmm. So he was born with this complication, and I really had to step it up for everyone, you know, and sort of just set my feelings aside, just like, you know, the other dads on the panel have explained, because really, when you go into a situation like that, it's not about you. It's not. It really isn't. It's about your partner and what they're going through, and the way you support them. And if there's any particular time where you have to be truly selfless, that's the time. That's the time when you have to be truly selfless, because you were part of creating it. You were part of the fun part, So, when it comes to that, unfortunately, there's stressful times that come with it. And the birth of my son, Liam, was really quite hard, because he had to be in a paralyzed state for a good chunk of time while his body made room for his intestines. Because as the baby grows, if it's normal, everything else grows with the baby, like at a steady rate. So when my son was born with this condition, his body essentially didn't have room for it. So the idea of just stuffing it back in there really quickly was not an option, because it would have pushed on his heart and affected his heart that way. So, it was really quite serious. And for that whole time, I think it was about a month and a half, going on 2 months. Wow. For me, in particular, as a dad, I had to set myself aside. That was just the reality of it.
But you have to be there for those moments, right? Like you have to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stop here quickly.
There's a bit of a trigger warning coming up. Our friend Brent touches on the loss of a child and the loss of a pregnancy. The next 10 minutes can be a little tricky to listen to, but they're also really beautiful and really important. So if you feel like you can't listen through, go ahead and just skip ahead about 10 minutes.
One big thing that going into being a father and whatnot that I just really was never prepared for was the fact that, like, a pregnancy is not an assured child. You get pregnant and people say, congratulations, great, that's fantastic, it's all good. And there's actually a huge amount of people where that pregnancy does not continue. And I mean, everyone knows that, because everyone knows that often people wait until 3 months before, because most the majority of failed pregnancies fail within the first 3 months, but a lot don't. So for our experience, my second son, Aurora, was born. He had passed away the day before he was born, and he was born about just over 8 months into the pregnancy. So up until Sarah's final checkup at the midwives for 8 months, everything was fine. The next day, she was doing just fine. She was swimming. She was feeling a little off. Then she noticed she didn't feel the baby, and I had to stay home with Anthony while she went to the hospital.
Oh, no.
And although it's a constant fear that your baby's not going to make it, that you kind of constantly tell yourself, like, no way, like, maybe there's a complication, maybe there's something there. And I remember when she left, we were talking about that, like, okay, maybe there's something going on, but she's going to go to the midwife clinic, check the heartbeat, and it's going to be all good. They're going to find it. And they didn't. I do remember finally the midwife had to call me and tell me that Aurora had passed away. And that was one of those, like, literal collapsing moments where you just can't handle it, because you just never prep yourself. The world doesn't prep you for that.
No.
And then the fact that I wasn't there to support Sarah yet was brutal. Like, luckily I was there quickly, and then we still had to go through the birth.
I was gonna ask, so what was the birth like then?
It was really strange. It was a really, really strange environment, because there was still a job to be done. There was still something that needed to be happen. Normally, this is such a joyous time and and there's a lot of joy around. And, like, it was tough, and everyone was exceptionally good. And, like, our midwives were unbelievable and really helpful to keep our mood up. But, like, for Anthony, for our first son, we had him at home. Everything was great. Like, Sarah didn't have any drugs or anything. But for Aurora, it was like, oh yeah, like, just drugs, whatever, go for it. It's not something you really want to feel. It was tough, and it was hard, and that was a lot of emotion and whatnot. That was another thing too, that was like, for my job, like, she had this job to do to take care of herself and to make sure that this happened smoothly and whatnot. And I was just on full emotional alert. What I realized too is that as a partner, then, was a lot about, communication with the outside world. I ended up being that person, explaining to everyone else what was going on, because you really needed a lot of that. And I don't know, my whole takeaway from all of that was just that, we don't talk about this enough, that pregnancy do fail, things go wrong. And, that was the most amazing thing for me, was that as soon as I started contacting the outside world about this, it was unbelievable how many people had the same thing or something similar happen to them. Really. So many stories coming out of the woodwork, and
people don't talk about it.
People do not talk about it.
Brent, I was going to ask you, were you able to hold him? Like, what happened after he was born?
Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to hold him, like just emotionally. It was tough. When he was first born, the midwives took him, and we told them that we weren't sure, like, if we were going to be able to hold him immediately and stuff. And they said that's fine, and they dressed him and whatnot, and so then I did. I was able to hold him, and it was really nice, and it was really nice to have that moment and have the time, like, and it was cool. Like, it was, at first I was thinking it would be, like I wouldn't feel any connection there, but like I totally did, and it totally was a nice experience, even though it was terrible. The one thing that for me that it's always changed is that I'm always excited when someone's pregnant, but I'm so nervous.
Right.
So nervous, and I don't tend to want to show that. So like even when you were pregnant, I was so excited, so happy, but like so nervous,
so
and, like,
aware.
We're like always very much attuned to, like, okay, how's all the babies doing in our lives? Like we're kind of a heightened awareness to that, and like when we hear that they were born healthy and everything, is like, phew, like, and like we celebrate it. It's a big deal, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think a lot of us share those feelings, Brent. Especially with my boys, all of them had some sort of complication. My oldest, starting with him, he had a heart murmur, and it turned out that it wasn't gonna affect him. But being a first time father, any sort of complication is like, whoa, okay, what can I do? Immediately, it's like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And then, when you're put into a position where you can't do anything, the feeling of hopelessness, it's really hard to deal with. I know I felt that way with the pregnancies of my boys. After my son Liam was born too, I found I was like hyper aware with my wife, and it's like, oh no, I gotta be on my A game, and I found that's what it taught me, to be on my A game, not for me, but for the situation and for my wife. Yeah. Because, it becomes not about you. You have to really accept that what you're going through right now, it's not about you, and you kind of gotta set yourself aside and just truly be a support. But I thank you for that, and he's got a beautiful name, regardless of whether he's here or not.
Yeah.
You express that he has great meaning to you, and that means something. Whether it means something to the rest of the world doesn't matter, because it means something to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Brent.
No problem. No problem, guys.
Thank you.
No, I think it's important to share.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's so much silence around it, and for sure people who are listening have gone through stuff as well. Like,
and it's
my own sister, for example. In my life, I know this is like Sarah and Brent are the third couple, but my mother's best friend lost her first child in birth, and my sister lost a 5-month, or like at her first child, whose name I believe is Josh, at 5 months. Was born premature at maybe 21 weeks or so. So, I mean, that speaks to it being quite a common occurrence.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. A lot of people have to go through it, and being aware of that is a good thing. I mean, you don't have to always shout it from the rooftops, but really being aware is it's always nice.
Yeah, when I think about it too, my mother was supposed to have a son before my oldest brother, it's more common than we know, I think.
Well, and credit to people too. I mean, man, one thing that was really cool about that whole process was the rallying cry from all of our, like, we had an amazing support team. And, I'm a pretty social person. My defense for it was to tell people about it and to share. And it was it was really amazing to get back from all of those people. Like, wow, like you really realize how much people do care and people do love when you do share it, when you do, let those tough times out, and let other people share in your grief. It is amazing, the responses you get, and it's very helpful. So, we often talk about how thoughtless people are and how much people aren't thinking about these things. But when you do share it, it's a huge support.
I know it sounds so empty to say I'm sorry for your loss, but so deeply sorry. It was just the most heartbreaking thing to watch you guys go through this. And I was pregnant at the time. And so selfishly, when you're pregnant and you see your friends going through this, it's terrifying, and they're grieving and you don't know how you can help them and you don't want to make them sad. It was just, it was such a hard time for you guys. And it was just so heartbreaking to see you go through it.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
Love you too. Yeah.
On a lighter note, is there anything that you guys have learned from your father that you'd like to pass on to your kids? Or not pass on to your kids, actually. Is there anything your dad really fucked up? Chris Chambers?
Oh boy. My relationship with my dad is I don't know how it is. He lives far away. Our relationship was tumultuous in my teens because he moved out. I share in his impatience that he had when he was my age, and I don't know. I think that I get a certain outlook from my father that makes me quite sharp, detail-oriented. I don't know. I have a complicated relationship with my father. I feel like it's not... Fuck. This is too personal.
No, it's really? You said Brent? It's too personal? Come on.
I've never felt a deep connection with my father. Maybe that makes us both shallow. I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Like you said, he left
right.
your family home when you were, 12?
Yeah.
And obviously, if it got to a point where he left, that it wasn't like everything was super duper right up until the day he left. There must have been things happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. My dad was super fun when I was little and then not fun when I was older.
Right.
He became quite depressed in the late 80s. But my dad used to wrestle with us, and our relationship changed when he refused to play with us at some point. That probably where it changed. So I don't know. I don't know what I learned from my dad. He never taught me how to build things like he does.
You know what, though? Sort of like his legacy in not being there when you were a teenager was that your mom foisted onto you this role of being kind of like the dad of the house in a way. And as a result, you were extremely practical and handy.
Also self-directed, I guess. Yeah. There's just a tendency in me to just sort of direct my own activities towards whatever I want to do and make the most of whatever I'm doing rather than relying on anyone else.
So it's kind of like he taught you all these things by lack of being there to teach you,
maybe,
It's like you had to learn these skills.
Made you teach it yourself.
Brent?
Well, my dad and I did spend a lot of time together growing up, and we did a lot. I would say that one thing that he did a lot, I was the youngest of 4 by quite a lot. My closest sibling is 7 years older than me. And my dad was a very handy guy growing up. He loved sports. He loved playing around and whatnot. But he worked all the time and was gone a fair amount as well. We did do lots of things together. I guess the thing that he taught me the most, and it's most currently in my mind, is that he did teach me how to build things. And then we just built my house together. my dad and I. And I mean, that would be the coolest thing if I could ever build a house with Anthony. That would be really, really cool. Because it was really cool. I mean, it was frustrating at times, but it was cool to work on a project like that with your father and have that time together. It was very, very cool, and we were able to go through a lot of things and experience a lot of things. And even though he had been a very handy guy growing up, like because I was the young one, I didn't actually get to help him as that much or learn all that much of that stuff. And so it was cool to go through that.
Cool.
What about the folks on the other side of the table?
I think it was like Mel kind of joked about at the start. There are things you learn that are great that you would want to pass. And then you learn also from what you feel maybe that you missed. I think probably everybody could say they want more from their dad. Dads are like a very special breed of humans, kind of like mysterious, who is this person? And even saying that, eventually you grow up and you think outside of your adolescent mind and you realize that your parents are just people with their own problems and their own experiences. Then you start to think about what you did get. And it makes it all the more important, And my dad was always really reserved, kind of. So in a way, I learned that kind of quiet patience and pride that I always felt, if I think back, I could say, oh, I wish he did this more with us, or I wish he was more vocal or asked me about my school, but he was always proud. He was always supportive. And that feeling wasn't lost on me. And I think maybe the biggest thing I learned from my dad was devotion, his devotion to my mother, and his respect for her.
It's unparalleled.
It's and if that's the only thing that I can teach my kids, then that'll be enough. Like, that's a huge lesson for me, and has made a huge difference in my life for sure.
Nice.
Thanks, Dad.
Kaj, it's you.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
That was our dropping guest detail.
For me, this topic is a little bit difficult because my old man's gone now. He passed in a rough way. I don't know if I want to get into that, but he taught me in his own way, I guess, how to be a man and how not to be a man. Because with him, I learned how not to treat a woman. Growing up, he was not very nice to my mom a lot. This is where, it's hard to talk about that side of him.
It's such opposing feelings towards someone. That must be hard to feel.
It is. It's really hard to talk about him because he, as I got older, he became one of my best friends. Like, I could rely on him for anything. He was my go-to. But, of the positive things he taught me, he taught me how to be very practical, dad, man, whatever male role that is, he taught me how to be practical. Inuit in general are pretty ingenious. We've had to be ingenious historically. We've had to make our own tools. So I do a lot of things with my hands, and I think that's essentially what he taught me. So I feel like I'm extremely useful that way. That's kind of been historically the man's role in Inuit culture. And it's kind of translated all the way up to now. In an environment that's so harsh, it's hard not to have sort of definitive roles. It really isn't an easy thing because the weather is so crazy over there. The extreme cold we have to deal with it. It takes over a lot, and it's hard on so many things. It's hard on your vehicles. It's hard on your home. It's just hard on life in general. Yeah. So the practical skills that you have to acquire It's just so important, like there's no auto shop or a huge choice of them. Like there may be one or two open, and maybe one's on the verge of going bankrupt, right? So, your ability to be practical and ingenious in an environment like that is pretty important. And I feel like that's sort of what my dad taught me. And I don't know, I find in a relationship too, at least one of the partners needs to have some practical skills. So I feel like those practical skills in life, like as simple as they might sound, I feel like they're so important. And I feel like he did a pretty thorough job in teaching me those skills. So those are the skills I feel like my dad taught me.
I have some questions from some little pals of ours. Have a listen.
So, why do dads really like coffee so much? Why do dads clean his ears? And why do dads have to go to work all the time? I want to know about why they get so angry.
Did dads get angry?
Yep.
Really? Does your dad get angry?
Yep.
Is it because you're naughty?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why Daddy get dressed so fast than me.
So, tough questions.
Those are really tough questions.
Why does Daddy get dressed so fast than me?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know that.
And why do you guys clean your ears out?
Why?
Inquiring minds need to know.
They need to know. Should we answer them?
Do you guys clean your ears?
We have dirty ears. That's
Okay.
From listening to your filthy kids all day.
Yeah. We need to... I clean Anthony's ears. I don't clean my ears.
Are your ears full of sawdust?
Yeah, actually.
I get dressed so fast because I don't care about my appearance.
Because I don't have the time to do anything else. Then I got to go help them get dressed.
Yeah.
I'm fast because I wake up beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Catch a glamour queen.
Can I change my answer to
Hashtag
that
woke
one?
like this. Woke up like this. Oh, shit. I just woke like this.
What was that, Brent?
Can I change my answer to Kaaju's? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the same for me.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
We do have a very good looking crew in here today.
We
I
do.
must
We're going to
say.
take lots of selfies at the end of this. So just FYI.
Nobody answered the coffee question, though.
Yeah, why did dads love coffee so much?
Because I wasn't allowed to drink it as a kid.
Is it so you can have coffee breath? All dads have coffee breath. Ew.
Actually, Holly once asked me, I said, I just need to go get a cup of coffee. And she said, why? Because you want your breath to smell bad?
Burn.
Greg, why do you love coffee so much?
It's just something reliable to look forward to and, focus on for a few minutes before you have to think about anything else.
Everything else.
Yeah, everything else.
I like it because it's like a legal, socially acceptable drug I can use first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No
Yeah.
one judges you for
And
Yeah.
it tastes good.
Yeah.
And it tastes good.
It tastes fantastic.
Also, people find it hard to bother you when you're drinking a coffee. They're just like, "Oh, you're just having a coffee." No, I'll come back. It's fine.
That's true.
You get like about a 4-minute leeway where you're like, "Okay, it's fine. Finish your coffee."
Do your kids know that rule? My kid doesn't know that
I feel
rule.
like in general,
just in general,
you're just
other
like,
people.
honey, I'll be even with the kids. I'm like, Daddy's just having a coffee. You know what it's like. Give me a minute.
You know what it's like, kids. You know how it is.
Go play with knives. I don't know.
Here's some matches. Go play in the rug.
I don't know about you guys, but my introduction was with Jamaican Blue Mountain. It's phenomenal. I fell in love when I first drank coffee, for real.
You fell in love.
Yep.
The rest is history.
Jamaican Blue Mountain, is that a type of bean?
Yeah.
Let's get on it.
That's a
good.
fantastic name.
Making me want a coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That brings us to Greg's got a little joke that I'm obsessed with currently. Can you tell it, please? Please, please, please. The Jamaican joke, please.
Did you hear tomorrow is International Jamaican Hairdo Day?
No.
I'm already dreading it.
Fantastic.
Isn't that great? Tell Anthony. I love it.
Oh yeah, he would like that one.
I told it to my mom recently, but she responded, "Oh my God, is it? Thanks for giving me the heads up." And then I was like, but no, I'm dreading it already. And she's like, "Oh, why? Fuck. Oh, Brenda." All right. Moving on.
All right, guys.
We have a rather serious question. So
Okay.
we have 2 questions left. Just we can.
I feel like we haven't
you
been
know.
very serious this
Yeah,
entire
this has
time.
been
We should
really
really try
silly-billy.
to calm it down.
Yeah, serious it up here, guys.
Yes.
Come on.
And some of this we touched on a little bit already.
Yeah.
But
The person who sent it really
she's,
needs us to ask
you know
this
what?
question.
She's disgruntled. And
we all?
a lot of women are. So let's hear what she has to say.
Bring it.
Okay, this came to us from Invisible Housewife.
Invisible housewife.
Hi, dads. Well, this generation of men are much more involved in parenting than ever before. There is still a tremendous gender discrepancy in housework and the mental load of running and managing a family. Every woman I know in a heterosexual relationship is doing way more than their share, and it's usually completely ignored and devalued. How have you addressed this issue in your family?
It's a learning process, you know?
Yeah.
It takes like a ton of communication and compassion, and that's on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't hide behind the defense of, oh, well, you didn't say anything, or oh, you didn't ask.
Right.
And so, well, you know, it is important to ask when you need something, but it's also important not to stand around waiting for it.
Right.
You know, you have to learn to read people and think about their needs, and that selflessness that we've been talking about, that doesn't end really. Because it's like fucking hard to be at home with a bunch of kids. And to, you know, the kids aren't going to thank you for it. That's for sure.
Is it ever?
We did talk about it a little bit earlier, but it is I went into becoming a father with that as my biggest fear, essentially, that I did not want that to happen. And I was going to do my utmost for that not to happen. And yet it's still started to happen. You know, my partner up till that point was this super strong woman, really capable. She was able to lift anything that I was able to lift. She's just as strong as me. We had a relationship where we didn't have those same prejudices. And I felt like we were a really good team and we were going to be able to take this on. And still, then baby comes along and, you know, then she's breastfeeding because the world's telling you that breastfeeding is the best thing for it and for a child. And that's good and that's great. But like, all of a sudden, then, even if I wanted to be the stay-at-home parent, which we tried to it for a while, at that time she was going to school. So it worked out that I needed to work. I needed to make money, so I had to go to work. And all of a sudden, I found myself in this position where I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm thrust off into the regular world, and she's having to be home. And then even when I can be, you know, take the time, take my weeks, take my months off and spend the time with the baby, when she's away from the baby, she has to pump milk, sitting in a bathroom stall because people don't, you know, want to watch her pump milk, and we can't afford a really amazing pumper, so it's going and that's her experience when she's away from the baby. Whereas when I'm away from the baby, I don't have that. I'm fully away from the baby. I'm fully able to like separate myself. My hormones aren't going nuts and going crazy. And so even with all of the thing, like even with like going into it, fighting for that not to happen, it still all of a sudden is happening. Like she's at home more because it's easier for her to be at home than it is for me to be at home right at that moment. And I mean, I feel like after babyhood, you're able to like rejig that and whatnot. But often then once you already have a settled career, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you know, the mother could go back to work. But because the father's been able to keep working, he's making the money. He's making more money than if she goes. So then it's like, okay, practical decision. Let's stay with this. And all of a sudden you're in this, you know, in this issue. Now, personally, we were able to do some switching back and forth, but like basically we just had to continue talking so much about this, and we still always do. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the big danger is for the communication to break down and then resentment grows, you know, and resentment it's just fucking toxic. Like it festers, and over time it just gets worse and worse, and then you have a serious situation on your hands. So if you can avoid that. But I think this time is very, like, it's a new landscape for a lot of people, and it's really tricky to navigate, and we're all just kind of figuring it out, you know. The old model is gone. I mean, like, traditionally, the village, you know, where there were aunties and sisters, that's gone. And then the nuclear family, which is, you know, definitely not a healthy example, because you've taken away the village, and now you have the mother and the wife who is super isolated and having to do all of these things in high heels with a smile. And like, that's gone, thank goodness. But now it's like, who's making the money? You know, what are our responsibilities to each other and to our kids? And it's really new, I think, for our society. And it takes a lot of dialogue and a lot of thoughtfulness, and it's just a work in progress. Like you can't just figure it out and then everything's great. You know?
It's going to be easier for our sons and daughters than it is for us. I just wanted to say a quick thing about mental load. Like, that's a really big deal. I know I really struggle with that. Not just like your actual workload you're doing or whatever, but the mental load of like, okay, who's keeping track of who has school plays, appointments, play dates, babysitting. Like, just say, I want to work. That's fucking fine and dandy. But for me to get to work, and not necessarily me, but like usually for the woman to go to work, okay, she's still got to get the kids ready to go, like get all the child care set up, all the phone calls, whatever for child care, be on call in case kid gets sick at school, get all the snacks in the diaper bag and whatever. And often she's also the one who then leaves work early to pick up the children at said child care. Like, there's so much, and then has to get her own ass to work and figure and separate her brain from her kid for 20 minutes to figure that out. Anyway, all this mental load is so much. Even like, who needs new shoes coming up? I got to pull out the winter set. Like, it's constant. But also to really acknowledge that society plays it that way. Like, even I'm like quadruple booked for this evening, and I'm totally fucked about it, and I haven't even dealt with it because I'm so overwhelmed. Because everyone gets in touch with me and is, Sarah, like, do you want to come for dinner tonight? Sarah, can Penny have a sleepover? Sarah, can, you know, in society we do that. We get in touch with the woman and we perpetuate that the men can't organize and plan. Right. And then it makes the men not be part of our community of planning and organizing. You wouldn't even know who to, I was like, get a play date for Leon. You wouldn't even fucking know who to call. You don't have the Facebook connections or whatever.
Ooh, I have a comment for this.
Please.
Because up until Anthony was 3, I was working full time. And then we moved here to Perth. And the plan was that when our second son was born, I was going to look after both boys, and Sarah was going to be able to work.
Yeah.
And so our second son died, but we still wanted to go through that plan. And so I started watching Anthony. And so until he was 4.5, so it was like a year and a half, I was stay-at-home dad. And so all of a sudden it was like a big swap. It was a big flip. And like, it was crazy how after like a year, I was starting to complain about those same things, because like, when you're around the kids all the time, when you're around them, when you're thinking about it, you have to, in order to survive, you have to have all of these things going on in your head.
What snacks are you going to make later that day?
Yeah.
Like, you need to fucking know
and
everything.
I was even starting to get like protective of doing that, because it's like, I know when he's doing this, I know when he's doing that, I know when he's, and so like, even Sarah would be like, oh, well, I can do this and I can do that. But like, no, I can do that. You know, I would still get like an arms, and it was like, and it was a neat case study, because we had literally gone through the exact opposite thing as well. And it was funny to just see that, wow, that might not be as much of a mom thing as much of it is like the stay-at-home parent thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you know, I knew all of the moms at playgroup then, and I knew all, you know, I had the connections.
Who
and
knows
stuff.
what
and like,
gymnastics class is good?
Yeah, and even like Mel, you would start calling me more
to
book play dates with Anthony or whatnot than you would call Sarah, even though Sarah was your original friend. Because of that. So like, I mean, we definitely. I mean, it happens to whoever is the child
Minder.
minder.
Well, recently I suggested, because I tend to stay out of the children's affairs, but what happens is what was just being described is you sort of get out of the loop. But I recently said, hey, Mel, I'm going to have to get a job in the fall, or I could take Robbie during the day and you could get a job if you wanted to mix it up, because I feel like the best way for me to kind of get into this world is the same way I do everything, which is just to throw myself in blind and then scrounge around until I figure it out, which is pretty well how I live my life.
I think it's a healthy practice for anyone who isn't in the home. And I mean, like, Brent and Kaj are actually at home, which is incredible. And I've been at home for periods, but if you switch it up for like a minimum of 2 weeks, so you can see how fucking hard it is and how annoying your kids are.
One day.
How insane, you know, like you go insane. And then like at the end of 2 weeks, there's 17 loads of laundry you haven't done. And your kids are eating macaroni and cheese every night. And you just like, it's really eye opening, you know, it really opens your eyes. Yeah. It's such hard work. It's so undervalued.
I need my eyes opened. I really do.
It's really lonely. That's something that is one of the most, like, all the work people know. Like, you don't really know until you're immersed in that situation. But what I think is important too for the dads out there, or the partners that aren't the stay-at-home partner, when they get immersed in this, is to really feel the emotional implication of being like at home with little people who aren't adults, who don't listen. Like, you almost feel like you're being, they're like, are they gaslighting me? Like, am I fucking crazy? And if you don't have a strong support group, like for our first 3 kids, I didn't really have any friends or any support group. And it's even now with my close, dear friends and neighbors, it's very lonely and it's hard. And it's hard to have children, treat you like shit all the time and stuff.
It's this thing of like, it's your role and it's your job as a stay-at-home parent to be there. And it's like kind of your job to keep everything in order and keep the house clean and keep the kids fed and know what needs to be bought in terms of groceries and what you're running out of and what you're going to need for next week.
And kids' clothes.
Yeah. And like, do they have any shorts that they can wear next week? No, they're out of shorts. Okay. So we need to wash all of that laundry and then we need to sort it and put it all away. And when the partner's at work and your job is defined by all of these little things and you can't do it, it feels really like kind of shameful. And the things that you do, nobody really notices because it's like,
it's just up
snacks, making sure you have snacks. Like nobody is paying attention to that. And like we mentioned earlier, kids certainly don't say thank you. And then if your partner is off working, their job, because staying at home is a job in and of itself. It's just a really fucked up, crazy job with no remuneration. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Oh my God, preach
retribution is what I want to say. I know that's the wrong word, but maybe that's what I'm feeling. Retribution. What is the word?
Remuneration.
Remuneration? Okay. Yeah.
There was an economist recently who tried to put a dollar figure on housework and how it relates to the greater economy. And it's astronomical, you know, like billions and billions.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so huge. There's so much. And I mean, you know, as that person too, when you do get a thank you from your partner and whatnot, you almost, I hate to say this, but you're almost like, you don't even count that because it still doesn't make up for all the things that you're going through. And so you're like, you get the thank you, you get the like wow, you're doing amazing. You're like, yeah, whatever. I got to focus on all this other shit that I'm doing. Yeah. Like in being by yourself for so long, you almost start to silo yourself a little bit, right? You know, and
it's like you hoard these responsibilities.
Yeah, like you resent them, but you're also very protective of them.
Well,
you know,
because
like,
they identify, as Mel was just saying, your self-worth is based on these actions.
Yeah.
Gets distilled down. And if you're going to work, then your self-worth is based on like your mirror is other adults who can be like, great job, you did good today. Here's a raise to show you. Here's money to show you. And other people talking to you and telling you when you're at home with your children, your mirror are these little people who are like, I hate you because my eggs are scrambled and not dippy. You're a fucking asshole.
Stop pulling my hair.
Yeah.
Trying to comb it.
Yeah. And there's no reward. There's no like monetary reward or like you can go somewhere and be like, I just got a raise or this is my job title. You're like, oh, I did 3 loads of laundry today and kept my kids alive. So
There's also a power struggle tied up in a lot of relationships, tied up with the fact that one partner is bringing in the money, and then the other partner's spending it, right?
Right.
Everybody is. So there's that too. I think that's part of where she's coming from. Like, you feel so undervalued because like you're feeling guilty almost about being at home doing all this work and you can't even get your work done. And then when your partner comes home, they're tired and so they can go to bed and you still have to fucking get up with the kids.
and maybe you didn't get like dinner ready or something, and even though like it's not like your partner would get upset with you, but you're like, fuck, that's my job and I didn't even do it. I can't even do my
the
job.
Self-guilt that you feel, like if you feel like you failed on something like that, no matter how supportive they are, you still are just like, oh, like.
Well, if you fuck up at work, like your real day job, you go to work, you fuck up, you drop a window or something, it's like kills you. You're like, oh my God, I fucked up. Oh, I'm the worst. And you question your ability to do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens all
but
the
as a
time
parent, you do that 7,000 times a day. You're like,
So
I don't know.
Well,
As dads, can I ask you, do you guys have any advice for her? She's in the situation where obviously she feels really upset about the fact that she's doing all this work and it's not recognized by her partner. How does she bring him around? Because he's working really hard, but she's like miserable, right? So how, they're both miserable. How do you deal with that?
If they're both miserable, then just ride it out.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, there are points.
But she feels undervalued by him, like,
Yeah, and it
And she
sounds like it might
recognizes
not
that-
be sustainable.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think that's
You can ride that out without some damage being done in the relationship.
Yeah. I think like, I mean, it seems like a bit of a cop out, but like the communication for that is the best thing you can possibly do. I mean, one thing I think that we've really covered well here is the situation itself really breeds these scenarios. And it's not necessarily the people involved.
Right.
Like the people can be well-meaning and loving, and still this is going to happen. So keeping that in mind and then trying to have those conversations that are not easy. And it is especially hard. And I know this too, because we're in a period of our lives right now, which is extraordinarily busy and we have time for nothing. That it is hard to not have those frustrations and not be furious about it. I think one thing that I've been doing a lot lately, because we've been really busy, is acknowledging that it is okay to be really frustrated with the situation. It is a frustrating situation. That's okay. Be really frustrated, be really pissed off, then put it aside and move on. Allow yourself to feel that frustration. It is frustrating. That's okay. And then, okay, let's try to put that aside and work through it. But give yourself the time to just fucking lose it, because that is good. I mean, these situations are ridiculous. They're so hard.
They're like
so
inhuman.
So you can to acknowledge that it is stupid, all of the work that you're doing, and it is okay.
I think the only way to get through it too is to talk about it.
Totally.
Well,
Otherwise-
it's complicated because I'm sure most of the time both parties are feeling a lot of the same things. I go and I work all day and I come home and then like
then you're pissed
where's
off at
my
me 'cause I
thanks?
didn't-
And then this person's at home thinking the exact same thing and you're getting fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
So just to recognize what each other is doing and show some appreciation for that, I think is a big start.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good place to start.
I feel like Mel and I try and thank each other quite frequently for what we do. I think that's part of our relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But it's also about...
Thanks, Chris, for saying that.
Thank you, Chris. Another thing I have to say is sacrifice. You have to make sacrifices.
As a dad?
There's so much, just as in any
Everybody,
relationship.
Yeah.
Because you get home from work, say, and it's like, oh, I gotta do this. I have to clean this thing, or I have to set this up. And it comes into like raising your kids too. You could be busy all day, but when you put something aside and spend half an hour sitting down with your child and being extremely present, it makes a world of difference, and you're still going to be able to go do that thing later.
Yeah.
And then you have to do the same thing for your partner. You're like, I'm sorry, babe, I can't right now, but no. Like, stop what you're doing. Grab the fucking baby. Take the kid. Or just, even if you're going to get groceries, put the kids in the car. Take them with you. Give them a break, you know?
Yeah.
And then you're a whole new woman when you get back.
I have another tip. Bone a lot. Because I will speak for Chris and I both. Every time we bone, we have like a honeymoon period for a few days. You know? Like having that physical closeness, trying to maintain that physical connection with your partner, I think is really important. To
so
keeping,
hard with kids around too, right?
It is. But you have to
put the work in to make that happen.
We're
right?
people partnering up with other people. We have to remember to like think of our partners as people with feelings and wants and desires and frustrations, and
you become really tactful, let me tell you. You really do. And you have to, like, you know, I have 5 boys, you know. I think I have the most children out of the whole panel.
Do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You win that award.
Thank you. Anyways, like, you know, just to weigh in on Invisible Mom's question, the way I've been able to deal with, you know, sort of the balance in the workloads at home, you know, because it is a tremendous workload. Like, am I not right, guys? Like, it's a huge, like, Brent, you've been a stay-at-home dad as well, right?
I've done it, yeah.
You know the workload. It's serious.
And I've only done it with one child.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to do it with several, right?
Yeah.
And I think a dad really needs to live that, you know, to fully understand, you know, and it's nothing against the dads that haven't, but just to really have a thorough understanding, I think you need to put in that time. It really is easier to develop that thorough understanding of this is really a delicate balance. It's like trying to balance on thread.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And
you fall a lot.
Yeah, you certainly do. Like, I don't know. For me as a dad, it's been a tremendous learning curve, developing skills and coping mechanisms to be able to deal with that delicate balance.
Kill your kids.
Yeah. I mean,
kill your kids.
So like,
every day.
Yes.
I feel for Invisible Mom. Is it?
Invisible housewife. Doesn't matter.
I do. I'm just putting that out there. I feel for you because I've seen it too. Mm-hmm. Like this whole, you know, stereotypical gender roles, you know, it's so easy to fall into that, I think. And earlier on in my relationships, I know I was falling into that pattern really easily. And you know, I look back and I feel really awful for it. I do. So
we're all learning all the time.
Yeah. And I just feel like Invisible Housewife's husband, if there was an opportunity to switch those roles, I think probably he would learn a lot, and maybe perhaps develop a healthy appreciation for what happens at home. But, you know, to his defense, it's really easy to forget what is happening at home because you're not seeing it directly in front of you. He's obviously focused on, you know, what he's doing to uphold the household, you know, like, I mean, financially, right? Right. You know, I think, you know, some healthy reminders perhaps about, you know, what actually happens at home.
Like a day in the life.
Yeah, it might help. Or maybe, you know, like, you know, this is just my artsy fart coming out, right? Maybe perhaps she can GoPro it, right? And really show what's happening and you know, sort of show her husband what she does.
Like the screaming toddler, the pee on the floor, snack.
I love that, Kat.
Yeah, you know the setup I'm talking about, the one that goes on the head, right? Mm-hmm. Give him a real, you know, POV sort of view of what's actually happening, you know. So, and you know, I don't mean doing it in, you know, offensive way where, you know, like this is what I do every day, you know, but just to show like in a healthy manner. Look, please just don't forget this is what I go through every day. Please, you know, just try to understand and appreciate what I do every day. Mm-hmm. You
like
know,
what I do for you.
Yeah, and because it's, you know, I think, like I said earlier, with, you know, patterns, you know, it's so easy to fall into patterns and become creatures of, you know, habit. And don't forget the little things. Your partner, they adore the little things. I know that in my wife, she adores the little things, and that makes a world of difference.
It does.
And you know, going back to what the other dad said previously, that emphasis on good communication. Holy smokes! Like, if there's anything to focus on in a relationship, and you know, the health of it is to really focus on the communication. Like, if there's a breakdown, then there's a breakdown in the whole thing, right? Yeah. So communication, I think that for me and in my relationship with my wife, and it's, you know, it's lasted 20 years. So, and that
something's going right.
Listen to this guy.
I mean, like, I'm not boasting. I'm really just telling the truth. If I didn't develop communication skills in my relationship, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't still be with my wife.
Yeah.
A good communication hack with your partner, if you guys enjoy a glass or two, fucking drink together, man. Put the kids to bed. Crack open a bottle of wine or whatever you're fucking drinking.
Yeah.
Sit down and drink it. Like, pretend you're two young people without kids who are drinking and chatting, and you get a couple drinks in you, and you're both jovial, and you're not feeling like angry parents, and then you can just chat.
And then you can bone.
I was just
and then you can bone.
Yeah.
Or fall asleep fully clothed.
Preach it.
Into bed because you have so many
and
kids
feel
and you're so
totally
tired.
okay about not boning as well. Yeah.
Remember when we talked about boning last night? We actually say that kind of often. Like, remember when we talked about the idea of maybe thinking of doing it?
Wasn't
and then
that
the baby woke up? That was so fucking hot.
Another thing that's really easy to miss for people outside the home is not just all the work that's done, but like the side effects. You know, the toll on the spiritual and mental toll. And maybe if you're strategizing or talking about it, it's a good place to start. But with Sarah and I found it was like, what happens to your identity and just feeling like a human being? You know, like, what do you need to feel like a human being? What parts of your identity are missing now that you are taking care of kids 24/7? And it's another thing that isn't really talked about, but it was like,
it was our biggest. Was our
yeah, because if you're isolated and overloaded and underappreciated, you know, and then you're all at the same time you're struggling with who you are and who you used to be, and that person is gone now. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you can, like, if you can't quit your job, maybe you can't just take 2 weeks to switch places with your wife, but maybe you can talk about, okay, what do you need to feel like a person? Or what are the things that you do sometimes that give you your sense of identity back? Yeah. And how can we adjust and make sure that those things are happening, that we're taking that time?
And then for her, maybe to go to her partner and say, like, think about it, digest that, and say, like, okay, since you're not coming to me, these are the things that I need to feel like a person again. To get us back, I need to feel whole, and this is what I need. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to do, but you got to do it.
You will reap the benefits because you will see them become again the person that they were, the person that you fell in love with, and it's like, you know, they become bright light again instead of diminished as they were.
Yeah.
So it's only to your advantage, really.
So Sarah,
Yeah.
do you want to read the next question?
So our closing question, after all this invisible housewife and all these things, do you guys ever wish you were the mom?
Yes.
I have wished that I could lactate on several occasions.
It's possible,
my
Greg.
God.
Like, oh, that would be
Yes.
convenient right now.
Yeah.
So
If you pump every day, it'll start to happen.
Is that fucking real?
Also, if you have multiple
You're kidding
nipples,
me.
they can all
That's not
lactate.
true. No.
No, it's true.
I don't believe you. I'm going to fact check it.
Fact check it. So there's this man, I think it was Sri Lanka, who had an orphan child, and he wanted to feed the baby, and so he let the baby suckle until he could produce milk. Probably not as much as a woman, but yeah,
Right.
it is
You
possible.
need to make like the estrogen and shit to like.
Men have
lack in.
estrogen too,
I know.
not
It's
as much.
true. It's
Yeah.
true.
So
Wow.
Just like women have testosterone.
Yeah. No, I know that you guys have estrogen. We have.
Yeah.
I just
To be fair, his milk was a bit gamey. It was a bit.
When, when you tried it, like, what do you think? What did you think of it?
The child was Greg.
It was me.
It was Brian Aarons. Thanks, Bri guy.
I would say yes. I do. I do sometimes wish I was the mom, but I wish we could take turns. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you have this baby, I'll have the next one,
Yeah.
because you got your body ripped apart and had to go through all of that. Like, all right, now it's my turn. It's only fair. So you do wish you could do that. You totally do. You totally wish that you could be able to take that on and experience that, because I mean, I know it's brutal but
it's also really incredible.
amazing and incredible, right? So yeah, that definitely happens.
Work on it, boys.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think I've really given myself enough time to think about it too much.
You don't have any time.
It's
Yeah, you
because
don't
you're a
have any
stay-at-home dad.
You are a mom.
Well, you know, in essence, I have been afforded that, that opportunity to be a stay-at-home dad. So, sort of in essence, sans the lactating,
Yeah.
I do feel like I've been given the opportunity to be mom as well. I think it's changing where, the roles aren't so definitive now, and dads can do mom stuff and moms can do dad stuff, and
Right.
each other has the capability of doing them so well,
Right.
so
It doesn't have to be gender related.
no, it doesn't.
Besides,
And-
like the breastfeeding part.
yeah, I mean,
But there
we're
is ways around that if you're able to pump and things.
Yeah, which is
I can't-
And
ridiculous.
people without kids, you guys out there, you can help too, because it does take a village, And stay-at-home moms and dads,
Come see
they
us.
don't ask. They don't always ask. So just insist. Do the dishes. Go over.
Like Willa pops by, our friend Willa. She's like,
Willa
oh,
Murray,
hey.
shout out.
Willa Murray. She just pops in. Oh, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I can't really have a visit right now. She's like, I'm just doing some dishes. And she like slams dishes for 5 minutes, and then she's like, see ya, and fucking leaves. And I'm like, what? Guardian angel.
The world
What a
needs more
blessing.
Willa Murrays.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is amazing.
I like her too. She's quite a character.
She is. Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
Willa.
and find the time to connect with your partner, because it slips away so easily, and you don't even see it going. And when you can do that, it'll make everything easier. You got to be a team. You got to keep
sure you
that connection strong.
Yeah, that's where it starts, eh? Like the relationship is what started all this. That's what made all these kids happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to keep remembering that. That is important, and they're your partner, and you need to make sure that that they know that, and that's important. That relationship is important, and it does get forgotten. And you really
That
have-
Like, that
Relationship-
relationship is the base. It's
Yeah,
the
it needs to be-
foundation.
Well, the
for
kids
it.
are gonna leave,
it needs to
and
be the
then
most
you're
important
still
thing.
with your partner,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Really?
right
Is
now
that going to
it's
happen?
Maybe
When?
if I
never
don't leave
leaving.
first.
I think something that couples really need to try and not forget is what really, made each other get, the heart pumping, right? Try not to forget what absolutely excited you about your partner. Like, that's so important. Like, but at the same time, it's so easy to forget, right? With, the busy lives of today, like we've had to evolve into these really busy beings, and to be able to just sit back and say, yeah, I'm gonna relax for a bit, right? And in that time, I'm gonna do my best to remember why I fell in love with my partner to begin with, right? Yeah. I try to do that.
Do you guys have anything you want to plug?
Kaj, plug it. Oh my god. Okay, I'm just gonna say, Kaajuk is one of the most incredible artists in the land. I don't wear jewelry. I just have this one necklace that I wear sometimes. It's like very simple. Otherwise, I feel very uncomfortable wearing jewelry. I feel like I'm cross-dressing. So it's been years since I've been able to put on a pair of earrings that aren't like wooden plugs. And I want to. I want to wear jewelry. But I genuinely feel like I'm cross-dressing. Mel knows about it. Mm-hmm. And then fucking Kaj came along. Oh my god. And it was Christmas time, and it was a Christmas party here, and Kaj gives Mel these earrings.
They're baleen,
for your birthday,
I believe.
right? These beautiful emerald cut baleen earrings made of whale baleen. What kind of whale?
They're so beautiful.
Bowhead
whale baleen earrings. They're cut like big emeralds. They're so beautiful. And I was instantly jealous, and I turned to Cash and oh my god, she's so lucky. Like, oh, they're so beautiful. And then he goes, oh, I didn't forget about you, Sarah. And that is me. Some earrings. They're these white studs. They're like narwhal tusk. Horn?
Narwhal tusk.
Yeah. Oh my god. And I wear them every day. They're my go-to. I fucking love them. And then for my birthday, Greg got me another pair, and they're these like isosceles triangle. What are they?
They're baleen as well.
They're baleen. Oh my god. It's just like the simple beauty. The beauty is in the material. Yep. Like he takes these incredible materials and just really emphasizes the material in the piece, and they're just to die for. So go fucking check it out. Tell us about it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's just something I love. I try to bring my passion through those pieces, and check my workout on Instagram. It's just Kaajuk, Kaajuk, and again on Facebook, it's just Kaajuk as well, Kaajuk.
You're the only one who gets to just use their name on Instagram.
You're like Prince. But better.
I feel lucky. Again, my website, it's just KaajukKablalik.com, Kaajuk, Kablalik.
.com.
Yeah.
We'll put a link on our website as well.
Thank you. If you're curious and want to check out my
Walrus
work.
whisker earrings. Oh my god, best Mother's Day gift I gave my mom ever. She was like beside herself. Walrus whisker earrings, guys.
And they were dyed too. I'm the only one really that does that I know of. So
beautiful.
Check them out. Dyed walrus whisker earrings. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cool.
They're so
amazing. Brent, do you have any plugs?
I'm not typically very online social. I don't really have anything myself, although I do work at a bike shop with two other lovely people, and we post all of our things on the Facebooks, and that is at Heritage Bikes. We repair bikes, we do tours, we refurbish bikes, all here in the Perth area. And you can check us out there.
Greg, do you have any plugs today? Care plugs, butt plugs?
No, but I love to hang out.
Giant Tiger parking lot again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come around, have a beer or something. I'm not on social media. I'm hiding from the CIA and the CRA and the FBI.
And the NRA.
And the
CIA.
I started with the CIA.
Oh, whoops.
So don't look for me because I'm not there.
Yeah.
Very mysterious.
I often post really charming photos of my handsome, beautiful husband on the internet for my friends to comment lewd comments on, because one of my favorite things in the world is to objectify all the men I know. So you're welcome, you handsome devils. Bend over. All right. On that note.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Brook Valley Produce or Capital Aquarium or just Chris Chambers. You can find me on Twitter talking crypto at Chris R _ Chambers, I believe. And there's a picture of Captain Picard as my emoji. So
Worth the visit
Nice.
just for that.
yeah.
I'm on Instagram at littlewrightcrew.art and Facebook, Sarah Wright. Check it out. I make art sometimes. Maybe I'll stick and poke tattoo ya. Bend over.
It's beautiful.
Melody, where can we find you?
You can find me at melodystarkweather.ca on the interwebs. I have art.
I have art.
I make the art.
Hire her
arts.
to make your art. She makes beautiful art.
Can
you keep
can
looking
you
up
can
there.
you go into more detail, because I've noticed the lack of that detail on this podcast.
Really?
And-
okay.
And I feel like
What do you
I feel
do,
like the
Mel?
world needs to know. What do you do?
I do portraits,
they're so
primarily
beautiful.
in pencil and also in paint, animals and people. And right now I'm working on a pair of like formal portraits that are pretty fun.
Listen, guys, the realism.
That's
It's
fantastic.
unbelievable, eh?
She will
Unreal.
take your favorite picture of anything and turn it into just an amazing piece of art. That
So
is
your
just
favorite piece of art.
Thanks,
Yes.
guys.
Agreed. 100%.
It's like magic
It
with
really
colors.
It's like HD.
It's fucking just like HD. You're like,
Yep.
this picture was 2D and now this is a 3D painting. Like, how did you make this person look like you could see, like,
That's not what
indents?
HD stands for.
Yeah,
though.
you
It's
Bluetooth
different.
it, okay?
Bluetooth.
Just, hey, Google. Bluetooth
Well,
HD.
thanks, guys. That's very kind. So next on, it's just Sarah and I, maybe our friend Justine if she feels like coming on, maybe another neighbor. We're going to be talking chickens. So we're going to teach you all about chickens,
Slaughtering chickens.
slaughtering chickens, petting chickens,
Eating chickens.
Choking chickens.
chickens doing it. I'm excited to talk about how they do it because it's kind of weird.
Doing the chicken dance.
Yeah.
Bark, bark, bark.
So
You guys are
tune in.
so white.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's accurate.
Completely accurate.
So thanks again for joining us. We love you. Thanks so much for sending us your questions and helping us to make the show happen. Go to our website to send us questions or call our toll-free number, 1-833-TEACH-US, which is 1-833-832-2487. As we mentioned earlier, we're looking for tales of dating disasters or successes, if you've had such a thing. Wild, I know. And please send us your ghost stories as well. We're going to do a ghost story episode.
Everybody here has to give us a ghost story.
Ooh, I like that.
Can't wait to hear them.
And remember, guys, it's a jungle out there.
Whoa!
Thanks, guys. Let's break.
Thanks, guys. Teach me, tiger, how to tease you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Tiger, tiger, I wanna squeeze you. Whoa, 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 whoa. All of my love I will give to you, but teach me this tiger, or I'll teach you.
Burning
Get a life,
yearning.
Danielle.
We can't answer all of your questions.